Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to a live Manchester United news and transfer news show. What is the latest on Zubimendi? What is the latest on Frenkie de Jong, Wan Bissaka, Ugarte, Sander Berge, Fofana, Ivan, Toney, Ligt, Mazraoui, all covered in today's video. And I'm just going to clear something up. Frenkie de Jong is in the title. Frenkie de Jong is in the thumbnail. Do I want to be doing videos talking about Frenkie de Jong? Am I still, traumatized from 2 transfer windows ago? Yes. Do I want to be talking about Frenkie de Jong? Do I want to have a video based on Frenkie de Jong? No. But the news is, and the news story that's been going about the most the last few hours is to do with de Jong to United. And I always think de Jong nonsense this, de Jong nonsense that. But we have got credible sources saying, look, we are having conversations with Barcelona about the potential for this deal. It could be one to watch. Is it PR spin? Is it we've no longer in a Ugarte race, so let's send them to de Jong because it gets clicks? I don't know. But we're going to get into that story. We're going to get into that news. I'm fed up of de Jong. That de Jong is now the subject of today's video because I thought after that transfer saga, we're never going to do a video talk about de Jong again. But it is what's going about. There's news on Zubimendi, but not good news because Zubimendi to Liverpool. There is good news on Wan Bissaka. Finally, a sale was expected to be done. Ugarte deal isn't off. Berge could be one to watch. There's a few stories. So look, guys, please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. And let's get into the news. We'll talk about some players like João Gomes of Wolves later on. De Jong doesn't seem realistic, but to us, clearly Barca have been trying to force him out for years. Yeah, de Jong doesn't seem realistic, but you just don't know with the way Barca want him gone as well. And could be a panic midfield signing. I feel like, you know what, the more, like, Berge is how it's pronounced. I don't think Sander Berge is a bad deal. It's like an endo. It's not who you want. But if you're getting him in because next season you're going to go all out for Wharton, like Liverpool got Endo in because they couldn't get who they wanted, so then the following season they went all out for Zubimendi, it's one of those. Berge was Burnley's player of the season and player of the season. He's a good player, he's good on the ball, he's 6'4", he can do the DM role. It's nothing special, but I generally think he could do a better job than Casemiro in the DM role. Could he be as good as other options? No. I'd rather have Zubimendi, I'd rather have Stiller. Exactly. But he could be like £20 million, could be our endo, like Liverpool brought in. He does the job, he's the unsung hero, and then it gives you the funds next year to go all out. But we can't go into next season without a DM, and realistically, what's the best we can get for a realistic price? Berge. So that's what I feel on that deal, but I will dive into that later. But I do want to talk about this story before I get into other news. And this is a story I don't really want to talk about because it involves Liverpool doing good business and signing a player that I want to see at Manchester United. But we are going to talk about this story as well. I'm absolutely devastated. Subi is set to join Liverpool. It's such a shame. I wanted him ahead of Ugarte, Xabi Alonso 2.0. Zubimendi is a fantastic player. My only doubt around Zubimendi to United was the lack of physicality. A bit like with João Neves, but you know that it's just a fantastic player. And you know that it would be a fantastic signing. And the way that Zubimendi stepped up in Rodri's absence for Spain, the thought of Liverpool having Zubimendi, McAllister, Gravenberch, all in their midfield. Because Gravenberch's going to come alive on the slot. Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, by Cetic if he reaches potential, Zubimendi. The way do you know what annoys me? Okay, and I do want to talk about United news, but it's the way that Liverpool rebuilt their midfield. They sold Keita, Milner, Fabinho, and Henderson, 4 midfielders in one window, and brought in Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Endo, and McAllister 4. They sold 4 midfielders and brought in 4 midfielders in one window. That rightly annoys me. This window, they'll bring in Zubimendi, McAllister, Bajcetic, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai. Curtis Jones can do a job. Harvey Elliott is definitely a good player. It's just annoying. It is just annoying because I think the way they've rebuilt their midfield, if I could sit there and say Eriksen gone, Mejbri gone, Casemiro gone, McTominay gone, and magically bring in not even 4 midfield signings but 2, I'd do it. Like they sold 4 midfielders last summer and brought 4 in. If I could sit here and say Casemiro gone, McTominay gone, wow, Mejbri gone, Eriksen gone. Imagine we could offload those 4 players in one window like Liverpool did, and then I could go Fofana in, Zubimendi in. It's just annoying, isn't it? It's just annoying because, look, I'm hoping Zubimendi rejects them because there is question marks around whether he actually wants to leave Spain. I'm hoping Zubimendi rejects them, but you never know. Anthony to Al Nassr is a rumour, but I don't think it happens. I wouldn't pay much attention to the Anthony to Al Nassr news as well. Why are we not linked to Sangare? Because he was absolutely shocking for Nottingham Forest last season. Trust me, Berge is a better player than Sangare, without a doubt. According to me, Zubimendi is the best option for United. Angelo Stiller would be my pick. Angelo Stiller would be my pick. Similarities to Zubimendi. Again, I think he would be the pick if you couldn't get Zubimendi, but I don't think he wants to leave Germany as well. Zubimendi hasn't agreed to join Liverpool. Once he said today, he's told other clubs he doesn't want to leave Sociedad. Yeah, I mean, Liverpool have got a lot of work to do, but, you never know. Lenny Yoro only wanted Madrid and he ended up at United. Xerxes really wanted Milan, he ended up at United. Liverpool wouldn't be pushing this deal if they didn't think Zubimendi's mind could be convinced. So there is a rumour that we're going to offer Berge 100k a week, which is silly. I mean, I don't know how much he's on. Let me actually check that. Sander Berge wages. Apparently, we're going to offer him 100k a week. He's on like 30k a week, apparently. So yeah, offer him like 70, not 100k. Because 100k is just silly for a guy that's apparently on 30k a week. Are you talking about Man United news or Liverpool news? I'm talking about Man United news, but the reason I'm bringing this up is just because the reason I'm bringing up Zubimendi is because he's been linked to United. It's a Man United news show, but Zubimendi's been linked to United. The United page on FB, Facebook yesterday said that PSG had said they'd lower the Ugarte price if it allowed them a free run, and we didn't try hijack Neves. Is any truth in this? Well, the truth in that will be, let's see what happens in the next few days. There is a report that PSG could be lowering the Ugarte price. I might cover it in my roundup tonight because it's not come out from the most reliable source, but there were sources last week that said that PSG expected to lower the Ugarte price. There's rumours today that PSG are going to lower the Ugarte price. I'm going to see if we can get further confirmation. I'm going to see what reliable sources say on that and see what updates we can get. But I think that's one of those where we can, only time will tell. Only time will tell, but I probably will discuss that on my late night roundup tonight as well. Fofana and Amrabat, maybe. I do really like the idea of Yusuf Fofana. I do think Yusuf Fofana and Sander Berge coming in are actually quite good options. Having two midfielders for the price of one, I do think it's a good way. Liverpool couldn't get Caicedo, so they got Gravenberch and Endo. We can't get Ugarte, we get Fofana and Berge. I think it's a decent deal. So let's talk about Frenkie de Jong. I tried to delay talking about the story because we're now 7 minutes into the stream. I was trying to delay talking about the story because, it's CBA. But this is the story going about, and Michael Plant isn't a bad source of information. He's not Romano, he's not Ornstein, he's not Whitwell, he's not, Simon Stone. He's not, he's not as reliable as like 8, 9, 10 other Man United sources I can name, but he's not like awful. It was said, Manchester United have approached Barcelona over the possibility of signing Frenkie de Jong this summer. United are open to completing a deal for Frenkie de Jong if a fee around the 30 to 40 million mark can be agreed. It remains unclear if Barcelona would be willing to sell de Jong this summer, as Hansi Flick wants to keep him. The manager wants to keep him, but let's be honest, we all know Barcelona are desperate to sell him. Barcelona want de Jong gone. Barcelona want de Jong off the books. De Jong's desperate to say, Barcelona gone. Now, if you said to me, we could sign Frenkie de Jong for between 30 to 40 million, so 35 million, would I sign Frenkie de Jong? Yes. But I'd only sign Frenkie de Jong on the situation that he rung up Ten Hag and said, boss, I will take a massive wage cut to come to United. I want to play under you. If Frenkie de Jong gets on the phone, he rings up Erik Ten Hag and he says, boss, honestly, I'll come to United, pay me less than £200 a week. I will come, I will play. I want to play under you. You make a bid for me. Barca will set 35 million, I will come. Then let's talk Frenkie de Jong. But until Frenkie de Jong rings up Erik Ten Hag and says, I'll be open to this move and I'll be open to take a wage cut to move Manchester United, do not waste your time on it. Now, the reason I'm reporting this is because it was reported 2 days ago that Frenkie de Jong and Barcelona Frenkie de Jong and Barcelona, he was going to leave Barca. It's been reported by lots of outlets in Spain that Man United are set to make a move for de Jong the last 3-4 days. Now, I've ignored those reports because, as I said, I don't want to be talking about Frenkie de Jong. I don't. I really don't, because I don't believe it, okay? But there's a lot of talk about it. Now, those have come from Spanish nonsense sources, the same nonsense sources that told us 2 years ago we're signing de Jong, so I've ignored a lot of the Frenkie de Jong stories the last few days. But it's now coming out from UK sources. It's now coming out that we've actually held talks with Barca, like official talks, to see what the situation is, and it could be available for 30 to 40 million. Man United would be open to completing a deal in that price. But it's unknown whether Barcelona do want to sell him, like it's being reported, and it's unknown whether de Jong would want to come. But it could be one to watch. But for the moment, for the now, I've called it the CBA story as well. Fed up with the De Jong story and the rest of the rubbish some players mentioned all the time are getting nowhere. I just feel like every time we get mentioned to De Jong, I just really don't care. I love De Jong. I'd love De Jong in a United shirt. But this is one of those stories that I really don't care. That's why I've called it CBA. I'm not even bothered to write De Jong at the top. It is CBA. I don't care. Can't be asked. Now, a deal that I do care about, because I actually think, wow, we need an exit. We need some business to happen. We need an exit, is Wan Bissaka. And the news and reports coming out is a Wan Bissaka exit is expected to be done. Breaking. West Ham are still pushing to sign Aaron Wan Bissaka. A lot of details between the clubs have been agreed, but contractual details and terms of his departure with United are still to be finalised. There was a willingness from all parties to get the Wan Bissaka deal done. Bish, bash, bosh. Let's get the Wan Bissaka deal done. Do you know what? All I want is to wake up and find out that we've sold a player. That's all I want. Because we've sold Greenwood, who was never going to be part of the squad, so that doesn't even count. We've sold... No, yeah, that's it. We've sold Greenwood. We've sold Alvaro Fernandez. We've sold Willy Kambwala. So the only player that actually played for us last season was Willy Kambwala. Out of all the players we've sold, the only one played for us last season was Willy Kambwala, and then Varane and Martial have gone on a free. We've not sold anyone other than one little kid because we've replaced him with Euro. I want to wake up, and I like Wan Bissaka, and if Wan Bissaka stays as a second right back, it's not the end of the world. But I want to wake up and their report come out saying, Fabrizio Romano breaking, Scott McTominay to Fulham, Fulham closing in on a 30 million deal, McTominay's open to joining Fulham, here we go, coming soon. That's what I want to wake up to. I don't want to wake up to, oh, and United are opening talks with De Jong. Oh, Denzel Dumfries wants United. I don't care about Dumfries. I don't care about De Jong. I want Zubimendi to reject Liverpool. I want Zubimendi to come to Manchester United, and I want us to sell some players. That's what I want as well. Liverpool also held talks with Maximilian Bier in recent days as well. But apparently he chose to choose Dortmund over them. So hopefully Zubimendi chooses a club away from Liverpool as well. But obviously there's an expectation that the Wan Bissaka deal will be done. And I think when the Wan Bissaka exit happens, I do think there's movement. I almost feel like the slow movement in the last 2 weeks has come down to Wan Bissaka and West Ham taking their time. Now, I get that West Ham have signed 3 players in the last week, and now they're focused on Wan Bissaka. But I feel like the slowness in the last 2 weeks has come from Wan Bissaka taking his time. Now, West Ham have done 3 deals. They're ready to get the Wan Bissaka deal done. West Ham, according to Laurie Whitwell, would be willing to pay £18 million. United will accept that. Bish, bash, bosh. Let's get it deal done. You know, the agreement is close. A lot of things have been agreed. A lot of contractual details have been agreed. It's just that final details. I think it should be done. Apparently, it's expected to get done. There's a willingness to get it done from everybody. It should be done. When that is done, and please be today or tomorrow, because I cannot wait any longer, because we were told this time a week ago it would be done in the next few days. It's been a week. What is going on? I get that West Ham signed 3 players in the last week, but now we need to get Wan Bissaka done, because I do think once Wan Bissaka's done, we do get that advancement and movements in regards to Mazraoui. We do get that advancements and movements in regards to other targets as well. I think the Wan Bissaka sale definitely has an impact on the movement for sure. We should have gone for Bia. He's young, versatile, young. I like him, but I'm happy we got Xerxes, so I'm not too bothered about that. And he wanted to stay in Germany as well. Sales have been more challenging than Ineos expected. Messed up our transfer plans a little bit. Yeah, I think Ineos thought, okay, Martial and Arnold are useless. We'll be able to sell, but I don't think they've realised the extent of which, you know, teams think they can take advantage of Man United in the window and get our players for cheap because of how bad we've been for the last 10 years. I don't think they understand that giving Anthony 200 grand a week when he's a 20 grand a week player makes it very hard to sell. Like, I'm not going to critique Ineos for the lack of movement in sales. I think McTominay I could, because McTominay is actually someone that's probably on a really fair wage in terms of his ability. If McTominay and Wan Bissaka, if we don't sell them, I think we can critique Ineos. But Maguire not leaving, you can't blame Ineos. We didn't give Maguire that wages. Anthony not leaving, you can't blame Ineos. Sancho not leaving, you can't blame Ineos. And Casemiro not leaving, you can't blame Ineos. Even Eriksen not leaving, you can't blame Ineos because of the wages. I think Wan Bissaka and McTominay are probably on fair enough wages that we could probably get them out if we're good at selling. And we'll have to wait and see what happens with those. But I think a lot of the outs, you can't completely blame on Ineos. I think it's just how badly this club had been run for so long as well. Is Wan Bissaka injured? I don't think so. He better not be. I tell you what, not Ollie. Ten Hag played him and got him injured in that last game. I'd be so annoyed as well. Glazers created a vicious cycle. Can't sell average overpaid players. Can't afford to let them leave for free. So we re-sign them. The players know this and they get bumper new deals. Do you know what? Elements of that is correct, but I think Ineos knew that, and that's why they let Varane and Martial go for free. Now, Martial would have gone for free no matter what happened. I would have given Varane a 1-year extension, but I think Ineos was saying, no, we want a complete rebuild. Even players like Rafael Varane didn't get a 1-year extension. I think Ineos want to undo that as well. Do you feel that Erik ten Hag, as of this moment, he's going into the season without the proper tools? Exactly. Do you know what's mad? And someone showed me this, and I do want to get to the news because I am being really slow to cover the news, and there's a lot of news to get into. But someone showed me this, and I can see if I can find it. And it was our lineup for Ten Hag's first game. So our first game was against Brighton, right? Man United versus Brighton, and it was in 2022. So our first game was on the 7th of August 2022 under Ten Hag. Okay, this was our first game. This is gonna shock you. So who played in Man United's first game versus Brighton? Okay. You ready? David De Gea, he's gone. Delot, still here, expected to start in the Community Shield final. Maguire, still here, expected to start in the Community Shield final. Lissandro Martinez signed, still here, good, expected to start in the Community Shield final. Luke Shaw, still here, expected to start in the Community Shield final. So, Scott McTominay, still here, if he's not sold, expected to start in the Community Shield final. Fred, gone. Bruno, still here, good, expected to start in the Community Shield final. Sancho, still here, expected to start in the Community Shield final. Eriksen, still here. Rashford, still here. Now, look, I'm glad that Rashford is here. I'm glad that Bruno is here. I'm glad that Delot is here. Martinez is here. I'm glad that Shaw is here. But, other than Fred and De Gea, every single player that played in Ten Hag's opening game, bar 2, that started could start in the Community Shield for us. Now, I have no issue with Martinez starting or Bruno starting or Rashford starting, but it just shows you the little changes that Ten Hag's had. And, this is his 3rd season. When we looked at this squad on the first day, this was Ten Hag's first game, and I was probably waffling in my watch-along about this squad. This was Ten Hag's first game. I was thinking, right, Maguire won't be here in 2 seasons' time, because you were thinking Ten Hag's 3rd season is where he's going to challenge for the league. 1st season gets back on track, 2nd season push a bit, 3rd season win the league. That's what you always think with a new manager in. That obviously hasn't gone to plan. But we'd have been sitting here saying Maguire won't be here in a few years, De Gea won't be in a few years, McTominay won't be here in a few years, Fred won't be in a few years, I think Sancho will be gone, I think Eriksen will be gone. And you'll be now going to the 3rd season, actually. Eriksen is still here, Sancho is still here, Fred did go, McTominay is still here. Sure, we'd expect to be a bench player and we'd have got a fresh younger left back in. Martinez was fine, Maguire is still here. Delot, actually, we probably would have thought would go, but he's had a really good season under Ten Hag, so he's proven us wrong. It is one of those things where you look at it and you think, yeah, like, really not much has changed. Like, this is our lineup 2 years ago in Ten Hag's first game, and we could be playing very similar teams, bar De Gea and Fred. Obviously, a lot of these players in this lineup isn't bad, but yeah. Someone said McTominay deserves a new deal. He does not. McTominay, 30 million, pure FFP profit. Sell him, not good enough to start. Doesn't suit Ten Hag ball, but you can get money for him. McTominay's a nice guy. He's good character, good guy to come off the bench. But the money you get from McTominay can be invested in someone that can start. That's how I feel as well. Hopefully, look, I don't really care about the Young story. I think, to be honest, I think it's one to watch, but I just don't like to talk about it because I have no energy for De Jong. But it just shows the little amount of players that are leaving, that only 2 of those, it's like 9 of the players that started Ten Hag's first game could be starting the first game of his 3rd season. Like, I do think that in elements is a little bit concerning. And I'm not one to be negative. You know me. I try and be positive. Like, I'm all right with the Sander Berge deal because I understand it in the sense of it being our version of Endo. I'm not one to be negative, but I don't like the idea of that. Do you think Man United could enter a bidding war for Martin Zubimendi? Potentially, but I think the reason United haven't really done anything for Zubimendi is because there's a feeling he doesn't want to leave Spain, and apparently he rejected Arsenal, and Arsenal, and I hate to say this, but why would you reject Arsenal and go to Man United right now as a Spanish midfielder? And I hate that I'm saying that, and it sounds horrible saying that, but if you're Zubimendi and you look at Arteta, okay, you look at Arteta, Spanish manager, modern football, more established, more sustainable role in the Champions League, if I had to pick any club for Zubimendi, it'd be Arsenal in terms of just working with Arteta and that sort of Spanish core. And he rejected Arsenal, which makes me think that we could enter a bidding war for Zubimendi, but I just don't see him wanting Man United. I don't. And I hate saying that because, Euro went to Man United in the end, but I think he suits Arteta ball the most and he didn't want Arsenal, if that's what I mean. But you never know. Like, we got Lenny Euro, we got Xerxes. We are bigger than Arsenal. We are bigger than Liverpool. We are the most historic English club and we probably have the best pool out of every English club. And I think with Ineos, you never know. But I just don't see Zubimendi happening. We have had talks with Manu Kone, according to some reports, but I don't see it happening, if I'm going to be honest. And it was also doesn't come from the most reliable report, but it definitely could be one to keep an eye on. So, should we get back into the news? Should we get back into the stories? There is rumours of United trying to hijack the Andre deal, but if you want my honest opinion, because people have just asked me about Andre Fluminense, I think because Fulham are interested in Andre, and if they get Andre, they won't get McTominay. Man United are now making a fake interest in Andre to maybe scare Fulham. I don't know, because Fulham know that we would beat them to Andre, and we want them to buy McTominay. So I don't know. I think some of that Andre links come from there. But let's talk about the midfield later. So, it was said Manuel Ugarte is still United's first choice, and lines of communication have remained open between the two clubs. So Ugarte isn't off, and I will say that now. I still wouldn't be surprised if we signed Ugarte. I stick with it. I think PSG will lower the fee. I think PSG will realise, damn it, we've been played and lower the fee, because PSG have to sell. I don't think Ugarte is off. I really don't. Now, one thing I do think is if we don't get Ugarte, I do think it will be one of Berge and Fofana, if I was to guess. But I don't know anything. I don't have an inside source. I'm not Fabrizio Romano, but this is just my guess. If we don't get Ugarte, I think it could be Fofana, or it could be Berge, and I'm happy with that. I like both players. Solanke to Spurs seems like a good signing for them, off topic. Yeah, I think it is a good signing for Tottenham. I think if they got Solanke and Neto, they'd be in a good place as well. If we had the funds in FFP allowed us, we would have sorted we sort of sent them in by now, exactly, and that's the frustrating thing. So it was said that Berge's dream move will only happen if Man United let somewhere close to hitting Burnley's asking price. So Berge, that was £20 million, is now £30 million because Man United have gone back in and we've spoken about that 20 million Man United tax. If Man United want to sell a player for £30 million, teams will bid 20. Fulham with Scott McTominay. If Manchester United want to buy a player, teams always add 10 million onto the asking price. Berge was 20 million. He's now 30 million. It's a prime example of Manchester United tax. Now, this is Berge's dream move. I mean, if you've only played for Genk, Sheffield United and Burnley, or 26, and one day you wake up after being relegated saying Man United want you, you're thinking, get me to Man United, because he's probably hoping Fulham comes for him. Do you know what I mean? No, Fulham aren't interested in you, but Man United are. He's thinking, yeah, screw Fulham. I'm going to do bigger and better things. Of course, Berge wants United. I don't have to worry. If, I could sit here and say, Berge would accept a deal Man United offered him. I don't think we have to worry about personal terms with Berge. Fabrizio Romano hasn't said anything about personal terms with Berge, but I'd assume we don't have to worry about that. I'm assuming we are his dream move. I'd be concerned if we weren't. Anyway, you never know. He could be a massive Liverpool supporter and hate us, but I think he wants Man United. Man United made contact with Berge's representatives. United would be prepared to fork out 20 mil for him. Now, that's come from The Sun. The Sun is shite. Let's be honest, it is shite. But we also know this from Duncan Castles. We also know similar stuff from Laurie Whitwell. Duncan Castles and Laurie Whitwell, who are not shite and are good journalists, said things along the same lines, so I'm going to believe this report. Although it was said that Man United could dive Berge down to a 100k a week contract. Berge is understood to be excited about the possibility of playing in the Theatre of Dreams on a bumper contract. This bit of the story, me no likey, okay? Why would we give him 100k a week when we're giving Xerxes 60k a week? Why would we give him 100k a week when Xerxes on 60k a week, when Højlund's on 60k a week? Unless he's on 100k a week right now, it would make no sense. And I don't believe he's on 100k a week at Burnley. I believe he's on about 40k a week. I'm trying to let me Google Burnley wage bill. I don't believe he's on anywhere near 100k a week. So we're looking at Burnley's wage bill here. Burnley's highest paid player is Josh Brownhill on 45k a week. Sander Berge is on 40k a week. So you offer him 60k a week at United. You're on 40k a week at Burnley. You offer him 60k a week at United. There's no point. Why would you take him from 40k a week to 100k a week when he would have probably accepted a move to Fulham, so he doesn't have to be in the Championship on a 50k a week deal? Okay, at a push, you maybe go 70 because it's United and his agent makes it a bit difficult. But let's be honest, Berger was desperate for United move. I generally think Berger would rather go to United on 30k a week than spend a year in the Championship at Burnley on 40k a week. I do. Not that that would happen. Obviously, we'd offer him more than that. But 100k a week, it would make absolutely no sense. Fofana and Andre much better than Fofana and Berger. I actually disagree with you, Linda. I really like Andre, but Andre is a very unique profile of player. And I think in terms of physicality and the lack of physical flooring in the squad, having Berger that's 6'4", a little bit more experienced than Andre, and has the awareness and has played in a big league, I think Berger and Fofana would be better than Andre. If I'm going to be honest as well. Why would a 26-year-old sign for Man United less than 100k a week? Because he's on 40k a week. He's on, like, Xerxes is on 60k a week. Hoyland is on 60k a week. You don't go from 40k a week to 100k a week unless you've got Ed Woodward. You say 40k a week to 60, 70k a week. Let's be honest. But if we did give him 100k a week, I think it's silly. But I like him. I'd take Rabiot and Amrabat over Berger every day. Would you really? I'd take Berger and Fofana as a midfield duo. I would. Berger is an endo. He's a stopgap signing. I don't like the idea of us doing a stopback signing. But I think you know what you get with Amrabat and you know what you get with Rabiot. And I think Berger is one of those where we could sign him and he could be shite. And you can see why he's played for relegation clubs. But I do think he's one of those players that in a good team and a good system, although our system isn't particularly good at midfield, he could be a good one. It's like Endo came from a lower mid-table Bundesliga club to Liverpool. I think because Berger's 6'4" and is more of a natural DM than Amrabat and Rabiot, I like it. I think Amrabat's a better player than Berger, to be fair. And I think Rabiot was more of an 8 than a 6. I think Rabiot's someone you bring on top of Berger, not instead of Berger. But I'm okay with Sander Berge coming in if he came in A with Yusuf Fofana or B because we're going to go all out for Wharton next year. Do you know what I mean? And we're just doing what Liverpool did with Endo and then getting Zubimendi the following year as well. But when he was at Genk and he was linked to United 4 years ago, I actually wanted him at United. I'm not going to sit there and lie. I did want him at United. I really liked him at Genk. So, and I thought he was Burnley's player of the season and player of the season. It's one of those like Weghorst. He was at Burnley and then he comes to United. But Weghorst wasn't really wanted by Burnley and Berger obviously was. So there's difference there. But I actually think that Sander Berge is a lot better player than people think. Is he in my top 10 DMs I'd sign for United? Absolutely not. But if United can get him for 20 million, I think he can do the job next season and then allow us to go all out for Wharton the following year or something like that. I think that I don't think it's a bad deal at all. Stature's a good deal. Fofana's a good deal. I think there's some good options out there as well. Zubimendi would be brilliant. Stiller would be brilliant. Fofana would be brilliant. Edison of Atalanta's an interesting one because this is his first good season, so it's a risk. But I do like Edison of Atalanta as well. There are some good options out there. So let's continue into more midfield news and stories. So more than a dozen alternatives, midfielders, have been offered to Manchester United this week. Richard Rios and Sander Berge have also been offered to Manchester United by third parties hoping to take advantage of their need for a midfielder. Toney has been discussed internally and have fans within the club, given he would cost less than 30 million and Toney is ready to leave Mönchengladbach and they're ready to sell. And it was also said by Graham Bailey that João Gomes and Danilo are players that Manchester United scouting staff hugely appreciate. João Gomes, Danilo, Toney, Rios, Berge, Fofana, Zubimendi. Man United have about 15 alternatives. Okay, the most reliably linked to Berge and Fofana. They're the ones to watch. Fofana, I know we like. Secret one is Schulman. I'll tell you one of the ones that's not been named, but he was named a couple of weeks ago, but one of the ones that's not been named by any credible journalist since Ugarte fell for is Schulman. Man United like Schulman. Man United like Schulman. I will tell you that for a fact. Will United get him? It depends on the fee. They want a lot of Sporting. I don't think we will. But I know that Man United really like Schulman. I know that those inside at Ineos really like Schulman. I think that's one to watch. He's not been mentioned post Ugarte news, but I could tell you that from just insight I get Schulman. But I don't think it wouldn't be in my top 3 picks, and I don't think it will happen because he'll be a bit expensive. But I know that could be one of the unnamed midfielders. In fact, I think the 2 unnamed midfielders might be Statch and Schulman. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Guys, please hit that like button and of course subscribe down below if you're new to the channel. My phone's just bleeped, so I'm just going to make sure it's no Fabrizio Romano updates. Marco Reus to LA Galaxy, here we go. And David Ornstein's dropped an exclusive Sam Johnson to exit Crystal Palace. So there you go. Dean Henderson's going to be number one for them. We need more players that remind me of Fred, and I think that's why we wanted Ugarte, a destroyer with energy that likes to get stuck in and do the dirty work, like Herrera once did, like Fred once did. And I think we missed Fred. Like, I get why we sold Fred. We definitely could have got we could have definitely got a good 5-10 million more than Fred. We undersold him like we always do. And I understand why we sold Fred, and like long term, he was never good enough. But Fred was one of those where his presence was missed. I think Herrera was one that we really noticed when he left. And I think Fred's another one because their aggression, their tenacity to get stuck in. And you need a player. You need a player like Fred and Herrera in the midfield. You need a player like Maino that's calm and composed. And then you need a player like Bruno that can just change a game. That's what you need. But you need a player like Fred and Herrera that's a bit more defensively disciplined, a little bit bigger, and a little bit more of a natural six. And you pair that with Maino, and you pair that with Bruno, and that's kind of, I think, what you'd want as well. Varane replaced by Euro. Martial's been replaced by Xerxes. Amrabat hasn't been replaced by anybody, and no other positions signed. So, yeah, it's not been the most exciting window, but we've still got 3 weeks. I still believe we're going to make 3 more signings. I believe we'll get Mazraoui. I believe we will get De Ligt. I have a feeling they're going to lower the Ugarte fee and we get it done. But if we don't get Ugarte, I think it could be Berge or Fofana. I think we'll get 3 more signings. And if McTominay and Wan Bissaka go and maybe Lindelof goes, there could be a 4th. And I think it could drag out. And I think the last week of the transfer window could be particularly interesting. But I like, things are annoying now and things are annoyingly slow. And I think, please, can we have some movement? I'm getting fed up. But I do generally have a confidence that things will happen. Look, Fred was inconsistent. Fred was either a 2 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10. You didn't get between. But I thought Fred was, like, for the most part, decent. But he was just very inconsistent. Like, I liked Fred, but we knew he wasn't good enough, so we knew he had to go. But I would have sacrificed McTominay before Fred, because Fred actually, when he played with Casemiro, I don't know, it kind of worked in a weird way. I don't know, it kind of worked. Fred and Amrabat remind me of each other. Very different players, but Amrabat, sometimes you could see him next to Maino. Oh, we need that. I thought Maino and Amrabat were like our best duo to come end of season, or even though we got about 5 games out of Amrabat in the pivot with Maino and it was all good. But again, Amrabat was like Fred. You know that he's not the guy that's going to change everything, but you know he's the guy you'd want to start with Maino. Anyway, let's continue more into some stories. I don't think there's much in Toney. I think Berge and Fofana are the ones to watch, but I still think Ugarte is on. There's more news about Manchester United going in for Ivan Toney. I personally don't see it happening, but let me cover it. We definitely like Ivan Toney, but it was said by someone, I can't remember who said it, but it was said by a credible outlet, that us signing another attacker would depend on Pellistri and Sancho being sold. They've not been sold. Manchester United remain interested in signing Ivan Toney. Brentford could be tempted to do business at around 40 million. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Ivan Toney wants to move, agent pushing move, link up to United. Don't think there's much in it. Now, obviously covered this earlier, but it has been said that Manchester United is set to submit a second bid for De Ligt and Mazraoui imminently. The transfers of Desiree Doué and Jonathan Tah are to be finalised within the proceeds from the sale of De Ligt and Mazraoui. Most important, sale to obtain a further approval from Supervisory Board, De Ligt to United. So basically, Man United is set to make another bid for De Ligt and Mazraoui imminently, and then Bayern may upset because they're desperate to bring in Doué and Tah. This is one to watch. I think, considering the Wan Bissaka deal is set to be done, all parties want a willingness to get the Wan Bissaka deal done. It's expected to be done. We said that last week, but West Ham literally did sign 3 players in the last 4 days. Now they've got that done out of the way. They're fully focused on Wan Bissaka, so I think that could be done. In regards to other news, it was said that Manchester United have made contact with the agents of Fofana to explore a potential deal. United presented their project and plans to him 2 to 3 weeks ago. At this stage, they've not yet made a concrete offer to Monaco. Manchester United are continuing to monitor Ugarte's situation and are exploring other options. United have initial contact over a deal for Monaco's Youssouf Fofana, who's also a target for AC Milan. Berge and Rios are also among those appreciated by United. So again, Fofana, Ugarte, Berge definitely wants to watch in midfield. We obviously have had conversations with Fofana's agent, and apparently, according to Sky, as of yesterday, opened some talks with Monaco. So according to reports from credible sources, we have opened some talks with the officials of both Fofana and Berge. So I think they're the ones to watch post Ugarte. But it all depends on McTominay's sale. And in regards to McTominay's sale, there's been mixed reports. Thank you very much, Macmillan, for the super chat. It says Ineos are going to get a cheap centre mid this season, like Berge, and fix the defence. Next season, go big for Wharton. I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're thinking right now, the Ligt, Mazraoui. If we can't sell McTominay, we get a Berge. He's our endo. And then next summer, we go for our Wharton. And then I'd assume Sancho and Anthony, hopefully we can get rid of them next summer and then get a big winger in as well. I want to show you something that I wrote, actually. Bear with me a second. I'm going to get it up. This is me trying to be somewhat realistic. Now, again, obviously, I'd like to... There's definitely better we could have done in the window. But let me get this up on my screen here. I think you have to look at it from the most logical, realistic perspective you can and the most positive perspective. Berge, Fofana, De Ligt, Mazraoui. So you're looking at around £100 million for these guys, these four, okay? Now, to get these four players in, you need to sell at least Wan Bissaka and McTominay. That's going to bring you about £40 million in, 40 to 50 million. You've already got the money from Greenwood. So, yeah, to sell these players, you need to sell Wan Bissaka and McTominay to sign these four players. But I do think bringing those four players in sets a decent foundation at United. Then in 2025, you offload Maguire, Anthony, Sancho, and if possible, you then get your Wharton type signing in. You go big on DM, and then you get your actual winger in because you've got Garnacho, Rashford, but we need another winger for sure. Obviously, this summer, I'd like to sell McTominay, Pellistri, Mazraoui, Wan Bissaka, Lindelof. I think if you sold all of these players, easier said than done, you could then bring in these four players. In fact, you could probably do a little bit better, maybe if you sold all of these players. And then 2025, you'd offload Maguire, Anthony, Sancho. I'd add Casemiro to that as well. Just forgot to put him there, if possible. And you could then get a team with depth looking like this. Now, I'm going to make that a little bit bigger because that is tiny. Why has that come out so small? Wait a sec. That's come out so small, but you can probably see it better there, can't you? Not sure why that's come out so small. But as you can see here, you'd be looking at something along the lines of Højlund, Xerxes, Bruno, Sancho that can play false 9, Bruno, Mount, Ahmed, and Sancho, to be fair, that can play 10, Garnacho, Rashford that can play left wing, Anthony if he's still here, Ahmed, Garnacho, Sancho can play right wing, same with Anthony, same with Bruno, same with Mount. You've got Maino, Mount, Fofana, Collier, Berge, Casemiro that could all rotate between the pivot. It puts Man United in a solid place defensively. Like, you look at the defence, it's solid. You look at the midfield, it could be better, but you know it can do the job. And you look at the attack. If that team stays relatively fit with all those options, that's a good basis for Man United to build upon. That's a good basis where you can say that team gets you top 4, it gets you a stability, and then an Adam Wharton, a good winger, and maybe a Jared Branthwaite. They're the three signings that get you over the line. If we don't score swap McTominay this summer, we are either extending his deal or losing on a free. And that's the worrying thing. For me, I know the success of this summer massively depends on McTominay being sold, I think. Unless you get Casemiro sold and Lindelof sold and Wan Bissaka sold and you raise a bit of money through that, I do think McTominay being sold or not could massively depend if this window is going to be a successful one or not. Like, and I don't like it to ride on one deal, but I think selling McTominay makes a massive deal to, one, not losing for free or giving him a new contract, which we don't want to do. I think McTominay is a player that I think we need to sell. And I think because he gives us the funds and the freedom to do a lot more. And if I was going to pick one player to sell and one player to offload, I would pick McTominay, followed by Casemiro, because we can get a bit more money for him than Lindelof, followed by Lindelof. They would probably be the three players I think we could offload. I don't know if Scott McTominay has a +1, actually. I know Maguire does, which is why it's not the end of the world. But I don't know if McTominay has a +1. Do you worry at all about keeping Sancho around as a bench player? Will he actually play? My worry is more how Sancho's going to act. I think Sancho will push for a move. But I think because United don't trust Anthony to be that good, and we're probably not going to sign a winger now because, well, we need a defender and a midfielder, and we're going to build out from the back. And I think rebuilds have to start from the back of midfield before you go into the attack, because if you have a great attack, you have a crap midfield, and defence you don't get the ball to attack. So I think it is more of we're focused on defence and midfield, which is understandable, which is fair. You've got Ahmed, you've got Garnacho, you've got Xerxes, you've got Højlund, you've got Rashford, you've got Bruno and Mount that can play out wide if need be. You know, I can understand why we're focused on defence and midfield, that we only going to sell Sancho if we get a good offer. I just don't know if we're going to get a good offer for Sancho, who's been hit and miss, who is on high wages. Sancho wants to go. I think Zenos more than willing to sell Sancho, but I think Manchester United are very much staying with the position of unless we get the kind of fee we want, we're probably not going to be that interested in selling Sancho. I think that is sort of the situation as it stands. I just worry about him staying as a bench player because that's obviously what caused the issues last time. When Sancho was stuck as a bench player last window, he got annoyed. He didn't like it. He wasn't happy. He acted out and it caused issues. And I think that's what I worry about. But anyway, guys, midfield and defence needs to be priority. Exactly. I think Sancho could stay, but I think last week of the window could heat up for him for sure. But I am going to wrap up the live stream here. Please hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new on the way out. Big up everyone for watching. There'll probably be a 10-minute roundup tonight. So I should see you guys back tonight. See you next time. Bye.